Council of the New Patriotic Party, which is the second highest decision-making body of the party, met today, July 4, 2024, to consider nomination of Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh by His Excellency Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, the party's presidential candidate, as his running mate for the 2024 general election. The meeting, which ended a few minutes ago, did in fact consider the said nomination, which forms part of the constitutionally mandated processes for selecting the party's running mate as per Article 13(3) of the New Patriotic Party Constitution. For the avoidance of doubt, Article 13(3)(1) reads as follows: the party's presidential candidate shall, in consultation with the National Council, nominate the vice presidential candidate. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I'm happy to report that after the necessary consideration, the National Council of the party unanimously endorsed the presidential candidate's nomination of Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, Member of Parliament for Menchia South and Energy Minister, as the vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party pursuant to our Constitution, Article 13(3). This significant milestone marks the completion of the party's presidential ticket for the 2024 general election.
And welcome to the show. Today is Thursday. It's the Hard Talk edition of the show. It's been a very eventful day. I have to say, one of the most eventful days as yet, you know, as all of us brace ourselves and get ready ourselves for December 7th, you know. I feel as though somehow officially campaign season began today, because for months and months and months, all of us have been waiting with bated breath for the MPP to sort of get its act together, literally, and get in the race. And it seems as though today is the day that that happened. So finally, we have the full ticket for the MPP. We know who the presidential candidate is, we know who the running mate is. It seems as though now the MPP with a full ticket is ready to run. But a lot of issues come up, you know, with all of this, you know, all of the talk before the naming, the fact that, you know, he was named, it had to go to NEC, it had to fulfill what Article, I think 13(3)(1) of the MPP's constitution, you know, comments from within the MPP's ranks leading up to these announcements. Even after the announcement has been made, there are still, you know, issues around the person. Is, you know, Napo, as we all affectionately call him, is he, actually no, let me not preempt today's conversation. That's one leg of our conversation today. We are looking at the MPP's running mate, the choice, the person that, you know, has been officially announced today. I think around 4:30 today. So that's one half of our conversation. The second half of our conversation has to do with the Snit hotels. You know, yeah, that issue is still here with us, and it's one that is as present as, you know, all of the issues leading up to election 2024. That's another big issue that we are very happy to delve into this evening. I have to say that I have missed you guys. When I say I have missed you guys, I mean I have missed doing the live shows. This one is very, very live. You should absolutely send your views and your comments to this. This is the text line. I will try to make this as interactive as I can. We share your ideas, ask your questions. We would, do this together, me and you. So, well, welcome again to the show. Let me introduce my fellow discussants for tonight. I have been joined in the studio by Joy FM's very own D. Kojo Yankson. Hi, Kojo.
Hi, Amma.
Always a pleasure to have you here.
It's great to be here.
You don't sound as excited as I am. I'm very excited today.
Oh, why?
I mean, it's getting to my favorite time of, democracy. Can I call it that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the elections are here. I can feel it.
I agree that, we're not going to be bored this year. But I don't... It's one of those blessings in disguise. It's one of those blessings and curses, right? Mixed blessings. Yeah, we won't be bored, but we might be irritated.
Okay.
We might be frustrated. We might be stressed. Because we're going to be hearing things, aren't we?
That's why I'm excited. That's why I'm excited. I'm so excited. Hi, Carmen.
Hello, Amma.
Great to have you seated here. Not great to have you here because you're here, but great to have you seated in this chair.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Right. You too. Charlie, where's the vibe? I'm feeling the vibe. Where's the vibe, Carmen?
I'm vibely.
Are you?
I am extremely vibely, and maybe I'm just waiting for us to start the conversation.
Okay, so
and then
let's
I'll show
start
you
the
how
conversation.
excited I am.
So let's get into the conversation right away. So, I want to go straight to something that was said, by Member of Parliament for Asante Akim North. He's also credited, as a leading member of the New Patriotic Party, the Honorable Andy Appiah Kubi. He had this to say when, Napo's name was mentioned, but he hadn't been confirmed. So, in that wait, because we had a few days of a wait period where his name had been submitted, but we're waiting for, their National Council to meet and formally announce him. So in that waiting window, this is what he had to say. He said that he was not his choice, first of all. And then when pressed further, he said that I wouldn't speak to a majority because we have not been consulted as a caucus for us to state our position. But for me, Appiah Kubi, you can solicit my view on this. If it were up to me to choose, I wouldn't choose him. He is not my preference, right? Appiah Kubi is saying that he is not my preference, and this he said for emphasis. So again, he was pressed further, to explain why Napo is not his preferred. And we are talking about a member of parliament within the Asante enclave, a leading member of the New Patriotic Party. That's what he had to say. He said he would have preferred, or he would have selected, his words, not mine, somebody more acceptable to parliamentarians. Somebody who, if the presidential candidate is not available, would hold the hand of a member of parliament and campaign in that member's constituency. Somebody who would be open with the people on the ground, who would be able to deliver the votes, who would submit to the presidency, who would be important in bringing parliament closer to the executive. I don't see that happening in this equation. He cannot hold my hand. So why would I say that I prefer him? He cannot hold my hand, he stated. And again, this is Member of Parliament for Asante Akim North, leading member of the New Patriotic Party, the Honorable Andy Appiah Kubi, saying this. A lot of problems. He's saying too much. I wasn't even going to say he's saying a lot. He's saying too much, right? These are all the qualities you expect from, your running mates. Everything he says. Right? And then he says he cannot hold my hand. And isn't the whole point of Napo the point that he's from the Ashanti region, he's going to deliver Ashanti region votes? So if you have Ashanti region members of parliament saying that, he can't deliver the votes. He can't hold my hand. Kojo.
Oh, me first? Are you sure? On Napo? Okay. Well, I mean, the MPP has finally announced their choice. I mean, it's not a surprise to anyone, I think. Last week we were talking about the fact that he seemed to be the one they want to go with. And I didn't mince words when I talked about my personal views of him as an addition to the ticket, a ticket that is already challenged in its task of winning the next election for so many reasons, not just the widespread disaffection with this government because of what they've done to our economy, but also because they are they are trying to buck a trend. Normally, after 8 years, the electorate feels like it's someone else's turn. That has been the tradition. So they are trying to change that as well. So in all ways, they have a very, very difficult job ahead of them of winning in 2024. And they've decided to, tie stones around their ankles and go for a swim by choosing NAPU. I've already gone through so many of the reasons, but I'm going to do something. I'm going to read part of the speech that was given by the General Secretary of the NPP when the announcement was made earlier today, JFK, right? He said, and I quote, "In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, if you were to ask me what Dr. Matthew Prempeh brings to the NPP presidential ticket, I will tell you he brings decades of political astuteness, trustworthy leadership, confidence, decisiveness, grassroots mobilization, charisma, patriotism, and demonstrable incorruptibility." So basically, what the message here is that this is a competent guy that they've chosen to partner Dr. Bawumia. He's a competent guy. Never before has anybody done such a great job of hiding their competence as NAPU seems to have done. Because, I mean, how do you assess him? Let's assess him based on the jobs he's been given. How well did he do them? He was education minister for some time. How well did he do that job? He was education minister when the president insisted that free SHS must be implemented in the very first year of the president's tenure. He was education minister, so he superintended it. So it was under him that we did double track. And I've talked about what a catastrophic demonstration of numeric illiteracy it was that we ended up with double track. That someone couldn't take a calculator and calculate how many students will be coming in based on the trend after the first couple of terms. They couldn't just take a calculator and figure out that we were going to end up with more students than facilities. So we were suddenly taken by surprise and had to invent this horrific regime where we are packing people's children like cattle into the education system. I mean, are we saying that that was competence? Then he became energy minister. And after about 7 years of the lights pretty much being on, we suddenly ran out of fuel and had to experience doomsday because of a lack of fuel. Again, you can see the absence of a calculator in his execution of his portfolio. Now, I don't know. I think everybody is entitled to their own opinions and assessments of the minister, but I prefer to present evidence. Okay, so the evidence of how these two sectors have performed under him is all you need to know. Under NAPU, there was the biggest turmoil in the energy sector that we've ever seen, with institutions fighting each other. the blame game between the PURC and ECG with VRA, you know, making little jabs, and Gridco acting like the tattletale in the classroom, you know, reporting everybody to the headmaster. And he did nothing. As minister, he did nothing to resolve this, except to tell us that we should go and draw our own timetable and that we wish evil for the country because we are asking for a timetable. That was his contribution. And then he went around calling it Doom CSC, Doom CSC, Doom CSC. These institutions were writing him letters, reporting each other, and we never heard a peep from him by way of solution. Is that competence? So how has he managed to hide this competence so well, to the point where we are being informed of it by the General Secretary after the choice has been made, and we are struggling for the evidence? But anyway, now the choice has been made. So the question is, how is he going to perform as running mate? Is he going to deliver what they expect of him? What do they expect of him? They expect minimum 70-75% of the Asante region, so that whatever else they get across the country, with that, it will be enough for them to win. That's what they expect. Okay, why do they believe Napo can give them that? They keep talking about this grassroots mobilization. Where did he mobilize the grassroots? When was it? Was I out of the country? When did he do it? Which grassroots? I mean, he wins elections in his constituency. Yeah. But you are hearing other members of parliament in the same Asante region telling you that this guy can't lead me to campaign in my own constituency.
He can't hold my hand.
He can't hold my hand. So how is he going to get you the region? With what? With what? These grassroots we keep hearing about. Where are they, and when did he take ownership of them? When did he, acquire influence over the grassroots of the Asante region? So, what is it even based on? This belief that he would deliver the Asante region to them. Now, by the way, even if he can deliver you votes in the Asante region, can he also lose you votes? Is there someone, if there is someone capable of saying the wrong thing and losing you votes, it's our man Napo. Again, evidence. So much of it. So many examples of things he has said that have been shocking in their ignorance. Shocking. And now we are hearing, since his appointment was made official, his nomination was made official, now we are hearing party members attempting to defend and explain away some of the horrible things he has said in the public domain. We are hearing the provision of context to nightmarish comments that have been said by this same person. So you see, now you have his future is risky, and so is his past. Because I mean, we are sitting around, we are wondering, what else has he said that perhaps we are yet to hear of? What else has he been recorded saying? Anyway, let's just hope that we don't suddenly start hearing the release of tapes of Napo saying things that really make his position as running mate to Dr. Baumia untenable. Let's just hope so. Well. But even if there's no such tape and there's not going to be any such thing coming out, hopefully, he still has the potential to say the wrong thing at any given time, because every opportunity he's given, he says the wrong thing.
Kwame, let me bring you in now, right? And let me quickly read something that the majority leader said as a rebuttal to, what had been said by the Member of Parliament earlier. Now, of course, it's not just him, it's some other groupings within the actually, let me start from the other grouping within the party and say that, you know, they came out first, the concerned Ashanti NPP came out first to call for the head of, you know, Asante, yes, and the Apia Kubide came, you know, and they said that he, you know, Napo was becoming an exceptionally excellent, you know, vice president, and they were concerned. Now, this is what the majority leader had to say. He said, "We are in this together. There's no perfect person in this world. Let us be measured in the language we use." Now, for me, that's very problematic, and so I underline there's no perfect person in this world. This is unless we need to give, you know, accept the fact that perhaps this is communication gone bad. Because if you have somebody within your ranks sort of questioning the choice of your running mates, I would have expected choicier words in his defense. But if you come out and say something like, "We are in this together. There is no perfect person in the world. Let us be measured in the language we use," that's conceding that the running mate has a lot of question marks around him. However, despite all of his flaws, we are in this together. So let's keep it moving, kind of.
Well, good evening to you, Kojo, to our viewers, and also to commiserate with Apia Dankwa on the loss of his grandmother. I think he's in the Ashanti region.
Right.
Observing the 1 week celebration, which is why he's not here with us. So a special, I'm sure he's watching.
Right.
A special good evening to him and to all the people who are watching us from across the continent. Oftentimes I ask myself why our democracy is what it is today, and why the political elite consistently, without fail, look at us in our faces and disrespect us. I mean, one would have thought that leadership is viewed from one's heart and how he addresses things and how he carries the emotions of people along and how he gives hope to the hopeless and how he brings light where there's darkness. And so if you are choosing somebody to lead you, one of the things, or a few of the things that you must look at are these qualities. Somebody who will give you a reason to believe that there is hope at the end of the tunnel, or there's light at the end of the tunnel, or there's hope to be given. Unfortunately, I don't see that in the current running mate chosen by the MPP. And of course, we as commentators or as journalists do not have the control, or that control, to determine who the MPP chooses to partner Dr. Bawumia. But what we have is our ability to analyze, characterize, and bring that particular person into our conversation for the purposes of appreciating whether or not he's the right person to possibly lead the country. Now, the views expressed by Mr. Andia Piakubi, in my estimation, is a reflection of the rancorous, bottled up emotions that people have towards Napo, who is clearly seen as a rancid human being because of how he has conducted himself, you know, whenever he's given the opportunity. Now, I'm not surprised at all that even within the NPP, people have opposed quite, vigorously the choice of Dr. Bawumia, or the choice of the party, to partner Dr. Bawumia in the upcoming elections. And I say this because when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was choosing Alhaji Bawumia as his running mate, of course, people disagreed, even within the party. But there was never a point where the party by themselves will contract a state institution in charge of our security to conduct a survey for the purposes of creating an erroneous impression that the varied or the rank and file of the MPP party were in support of NAPO. It has never happened before that the party will contract a security agency to conduct a survey. That we had several surveys conducted pointing to NAPO being a better person to partner Mahmoud Bawumia in the upcoming elections. We've never had that before, unless I'm mistaken. But I have never seen that happen. Not in the NDC, not in the MPP. At best, what people will do is that they will try to, determine whether or not the person has what it takes to partner the flag bearer, right? But never in the history of this country's democracy that we've seen a state institution conduct a survey for the purpose of that. And that tells you that they needed to force NAPO down the throat of, the rank and file of the party, because they knew that people would not support NAPO. And that is evident in the statement that was made by Andy Apiakubi. And bear in mind, Andy Apiakubi is not, a small politician. He's a leading member of the MPP. And his statement that he made points to the fact that NAPO is not the right candidate. He is not. He doesn't have what it takes to partner, Mahmoud Bawumia on the ticket of the MPP. And that if they want to break the 8, then NAPO is not the person who will aid Bawumia break that 8. And that he has so many issues. And that this is a person who cannot even go to the constituencies of members of parliament to raise their hands. This is very significant. This is very, very significant coming from somebody like Andy Apiakubi. And you see, when he made that statement, I have read the responses emanating from some factions of the party, and including the majority leader. In fact, if you read, what was put out by the concerned MPP people in some concerned group in the Ashanti region, they said that Andy Apia must be brought to order. Okay, and that he has no basis at all for saying the things he said, and therefore, if the party's choice is NAPO, then he must support NAPO, irrespective of whatever he has against NAPO. The majority leader comes and says that, he knows that, there's no perfect human being, but we should support NAPO. We are not asking for perfection. In your imperfection, Amma, one would expect that you put yourself in the shoes of the average Ghanaian, that you identify with the pain, with the plight, with the issues that confront the average Ghanaian. That in the face of that in the light of your imperfection, that when we have Dumso, you will not come and disrespect us. That when you introduce free SHS, and there are no enough classrooms and people raise concerns, you would not come and disrespect Ghanaians. That is what we're not talking about imperfection, because everybody is imperfect, yes, but in your imperfection, you must make sure that you do not offend the masses. And that is the kind of person they have chosen. Somebody who, in the midst of crisis, would come and disrespect the Ghanaian people. That is the person we've chosen to partner Mahmoud Bawumia. And God forbid, if such a character becomes the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, I'll be damned, but nobody would even be able to speak. Because he is demonstrating to you, and look, bear in mind, there are some allegations against him in respect of how he conducted himself, I think sometime in 2017, I believe, where allegedly, he's alleged to have led some thugs to go and beat up some people, etc. This is the person who is chosen to be the running mate to Bawumia. This is a person who, even when his name was mentioned, did not get the uproar that you would expect for people to give. Because obviously, I mean, Dr. Bawumia was waiting. I mean, people were waiting on Bawumia to mention the running mate. So we're batedly waiting.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this exercise, gentlemen. For me, often you realize that presidential candidates sort of go for people that are almost unknown politically. I think that they are the ones that normally work, right? And we can go back and mention as many names as we can. In fact, even, Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia himself was not as political when his name came up, for the same position. It seems safe. Then you tell us who he is. We don't know him. So you then have, the opportunity of designing a person, branding him the way you want, and presenting him to us. Just like, Dr. Bawumia was presented to us as an economic messiah, as this risk kid, whom we did not know. The MPP had that unique opportunity to just tell us who he is, and we took it. In this instance, that opportunity is lost because we know him. We have experienced him. I admire the eloquence of the General Secretary in about, 2 or 3 paragraphs of just trying to create somebody. But we know him. You can't tell us who Napo is. We've experienced him as Education Minister. We've experienced him as Energy Minister. We know him. So as I sit here, I'm wondering, and I want us to go, please, guys, please do this with me. Let's enter into, the unknowns and think around why the MPP will make such a gamble. It is strange to me. This is a crucial election, isn't it? Why would they gamble with somebody they cannot brand and sell to us? We know him.
You see, we know him would not have been a disadvantage if the him wasn't Napo. Because we knew John Mahama when he became running mate. He had been a political actor for quite some time. Even Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman had been a minister. We knew her. So it's not just the knowing that is a disadvantage, right? But it depends on who you are and what we knew you for. You see, so this thing where now people are having to come and explain to us how this person is actually such a nice person. I've been hearing a lot of that this week, that Napo is actually such a great person. He's such a wonderful person. Again, how is he hiding it so well? This greatness and, affability and wonderfulness that people are telling us about. How is he hiding it so well? Why is it that we haven't seen it? That it's only some select few who all happen to be MPP who have seen it. So the rest of the country who don't belong to your party, we now have to come and take your word for it, that he is something different from what he has shown us. Every opportunity he was given to show us who he is, he did that. He showed us what he wanted us to see. Whenever he was called up to Parliament to come and answer questions, and he sat there and acted as if he was the only person in the room with sense. That was his choice. So now that he has shown us this, and then some NPP functionary is trying to explain to us that there is a hidden depth to him. So we should now come and vote for hidden depth. We should look at him and say, oh, I see nothing redeeming about this man, but they say he's nice. So I'll take their word for it. This is an election. It's a popularity contest. Let's be clear. So if a person is unpopular, why do you put him up as your, part of your ticket?
Why do you think? Let's guess.
Again,
why?
It's just poor mathematics. That's what it is. And I've talked about this already. Last week I talked about it, that there is a certain assumption that has been made that, of course, if they are able to win comprehensively in the Asante region, they've pretty much won the election.
So why not somebody like Osei Mensah Bonsu?
Because for some reason, somebody somewhere has managed to convince them that this is the guy to give them the Asante region. And I talked about how the vice president had his mind made up quite some time ago that it was going to be Napo. right? This is what we are getting from his own communicators. Miracles Abuaje is the one who comes to mind right now. He has said it on record that the vice president knew, even before he became a candidate, he knew who he was going to choose as his running mate. Okay? So the vice president had done his maths already and determined that the one to win him the Asante region is Napo. But I don't understand it. I'm not able to follow the working. I'm not able to follow it because I don't really know what it is about Napo that gives anybody the Asante region. What is it? Is it the fact that he's related to Asante Hene? Is that it? I'm not sure that is enough. I'm not sure that's enough. Otumfuo is loved and respected. But I really don't think that people are going to decide, if they weren't going to vote for you to begin with, I don't think that the fact that you are related to the Asante Hene is going to change their minds. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Yes. So if there is a person in the Asante region whose vote the MPP could not count on, I don't think that that person's vote is now guaranteed because they have a running mate who is related to Otumfuo. Because if the person is in the Asante region and wasn't going to vote for you, this is not what will change his mind. They were not going to vote for you. So there must be something. You must have something to offer a person in the Asante region who has decided not to vote for the MPP. I don't think Otumfuo's nephew is enough. So I'm not able to show the working. I'm not able to work it out the way Dr. Baumia has worked it out. I really don't understand the thought process. Maybe he knows something that we don't. But me, what I know is what people think of your running mate. And they don't think highly of him. They don't think well of him. He hasn't endeared himself to people. Every positive account we hear of him is of somebody who is trying to say that that is who he is. We just haven't seen it.
Dig deeper.
It's somebody who is presenting us with a point of view that is different from what we have seen and formed. So honestly, me, I'm not sure of it. But all I'll say is this. If they really think that they've chosen the best person to help them win votes, then they should set him loose on the campaign trail. Let's hear what he has to say. But if there is any kind of grooming going on, any kind of attempt to, adjust him and his demeanor and his commentary, then it means they themselves, they know that there's a problem. So why him?
Why
Beggars belief.
I mean, why? What do you think?
I mean, the choice of a running mate is to sort of partner, the presidential candidate for the purpose of winning an election, right? And you must possess some qualities. Unfortunately, I'm struggling to identify any qualities that Napo,
confident, hardworking,
oftentimes,
charismatic, patriotic, incorruptible. Should I go on? These are according to the General Secretary of the NPP.
No, I mean these adjectives usually are misconstrued when you need to define somebody who is arrogant and disrespectful. So when someone is arrogant and very disrespectful, they say, "Oh, he's confident, he's bold," but you are being disrespectful. You are being arrogant. You get the point. I think, if you ask me, and I think Kojo has perfectly analyzed it, that the only reason why Napo came to mind or became the ultimate choice is because of the Ashanti region, vote, right? Because, he's from the Ashanti region. But the question is that, is he the only person who is from the Ashanti region who could have, delivered the votes? Is he the only person? He's not. And if you look at the MPP as a political party, and you see, that's why I'm saying that I shudder to think how would be able to organize ourselves going into the future because of how we are conducting ourselves politically. Because how did we get to this point where NAPO will be the choice of a presidential candidate going into an election? How did we get to this point? Why? Is it because of money? Money that, you know, allegedly he made through dubious means? Allegedly made through dubious means? Because, Ama, when he was at the education ministry, okay, he superintended, you know, the buck stops with the leader. He superintended, do you remember, over the provision of mathematical sets, which cost the nation about 65 million Ghana cedis. Sold one, bought one for 75 Ghana cedis, whereas the retail price was 15 Ghana cedis. He superintended over that. You know, the Wi-Fi and all those other things, procurement issues, and, you know, not following what's it called, due process in the procurement of materials for the education ministry. So clearly, this is somebody who has so much baggage, and it is unfortunate, quite unfortunate, that he has become the ultimate choice for Dr. Bawumia. But of course, we cannot think for Bawumia, we cannot decide for Bawumia. But I would have thought,
consultation with the National Council.
Absolutely, I would have thought that, and again, it comes back to the point that I made, I think, last week or so, when I said Bawumia is not his own man. Because, Ama, I can tell you for a fact that I'm sure that he had to deal with too many disapprovals before eventually getting, you know, the support of the party in selecting Bawumia, in selecting NAPO. So clearly, for me, I think that it presents the NDC a great opportunity. For me, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, you know, insofar as we do not have a stronger third force in the upcoming election, I know there's movement for change, etc. But whether you like it or not, the election is between the duopoly, the NDC and the NPP.
The front runners.
Now, if the NPP is unable to present a ticket that is appreciable to the Ghanaian people, then it affords the NDC an opportunity to take advantage of same. That if, for instance, Dr. Bawumia had selected or nominated, let's say, Oseche Mensah-Bonsu, right, who is highly respected across the board, or maybe Dr. What's his name? Dr. Yahweh Duchum, the education minister, who is also respected across the board, right? Then you would have said that, okay, this ticket is not bad, even though Bawumia is bad, right? He is bringing a running mate who brings some credibility to the ticket. Because if you, Bawumia, you have superintended over the economy, the failed economy, one would have expected that the choice that you would make will be one that will at least give the ticket some credibility. Somebody who is unblemished. Somebody who will partner you to bring some positive, you know, to support your agenda. But unfortunately, you have brought you yourself. Your leadership is questionable because you are not you are not a credible leader. There have been so many questions about how you've managed the economy, the lies told, the promises made, the unfulfilled promises made, and so many other things, right? And so I would have thought that, okay, you will go for somebody who will bring some small credibility. Who would bring some small credibility. But again, you've gone for the imperfect human being as described by the majority leader. So what kind of ticket are you presenting to the Ghanaian people? Are you presenting a ticket of uncredible people, including yourself? So, I mean, it presents the NDC an opportunity. And if you look at the ticket of the NDC, you have President Mahama. You may disagree with President Mahama on a number of things, right? He is not as defined or described by the majority leader. He's not a perfect human being. But at least you can point to the positives of President John Dramani Mahama. And you can point to the negatives. But of course, if you put them on a scale, if the positives far outweigh the negatives, then you can say that, okay, at least this person brings some form of credibility. Because there are so many things that you can point to that former President John Dramani Mahama has done. All right? Now, in order to solidify his ticket, and in order to gain the confidence and the trust of the Ghanaian people, he decided to go for a woman who is unblemished, who is accomplished, who has been able to deliver not just as a political person, but also in her life as an academic person. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, the ticket must be one that presents or that gives the Ghanaian people some form of hope, that settles their fears, that brings some hopeful expectation of change, that will make people believe that no matter the difficulties that we are going through, at least these people will be able to bring some change. And that ultimately, for me, should be what defines or determines who the choice of a running mate should be. Now, again, the NDC is presented with an opportunity to now bring to the fore for a comprehensive discussion the achievement and the failures of both Bawumia and Napo. And clearly, Napo as a minister for education never delivered. And Napo as the energy minister has not delivered. Bawumia as the vice president, in fact, I don't know whether we should describe him as the vice president, because, I mean, from all the explanations that he's given, it is indicative of the fact that he doesn't even respect the office of the vice president, because he himself is saying that he was not an active player in this administration. What it means is that he did not have any role to play in this administration. Okay? So, I mean, both of them do not give us, the Ghanaian people, the hope that we need, you know, in the midst of all this bleakness and all this economic labyrinth in which we find ourselves. Because, Amma, let me tell you what, even with the $360 million that we got from the IMF, okay, the IMF has still come out to say that it does not present a positive outlook necessarily. If I say a positive economic outlook, it doesn't mean that we are out of the woods yet. It doesn't mean that we are going to turn the corner in terms of our economy. What it means is that we have run this country aground. I fear, to be honest, I fear for whoever will become the president of this country after this election. So for me, I would say that, you know, in concluding, I would say that the MPP has made its choice. They know why they chose Napo. Okay, I feel disrespected as a Ghanaian, but it presents us with a great opportunity. It makes the contest, in my estimation, very easy, so that we are not going to go through the hassle and bustle of maybe getting some percentage in the elections that will now create some problems for us or some conflagrations. At least right now, it will be settled that most likely the NDC would maybe get about 70 or 80% in the elections. So it's good. It saves us all the troubles. Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, the number to reach us on is 055991980. I'll say that again. That's 055991980. I'll read a few of the messages that have come in so far. This one says, "Good evening. Remember his useless comments when parents had to gather at the Independence Square just to find schools for their wards." This is from Kafui in Lekma. This one says, "Auntie Amma, the NPP guy needs to go and learn propaganda properly in a training school in my village and stop belittling himself." He says he is thorough in Lashibi. Please stop calling the WhatsApp line. Actually, no. Oh, okay, sorry. It's a lot of messages. So it says the MPP is counting on the Electoral Commission to rig the election for them to win. So the MPP does not care who their running mate is. This one says Napo wants to be president. This one says, you know, I think it's a long speech. Oh, his acceptance speech, and he says, "Napo for you, we'll get there. Napo for you." This one says, "Please stop calling the WhatsApp line. Please, Napo is not a nephew of Utumfo. Rather, it is former President Kufuor and Dr. Kweku Ado Kufuor." So, Kojo, that's by way of
okay.
You know, a bit of correction, you know, for us. This one says, "Good evening. I'm enjoying your program. I want to know if Napo will still be an MP in Meshia or there will be another by-election there." His name is Bar Godfred from Kumasi. Yes, that's a good question. This one says, Good evening to you all. I'm enjoying the conversation. Bamia will not win. Okay, no jobs, poor roads, too much hardships in the system. Most of you are not giving us your name. Oh, Kwame Usudan, so may you witness the presidency of Dr. Baumia and Napo in Jesus' name. You didn't add your name. Whoever you are that sent the message. This one says, Baumia and the MPP will lose miserably with the nomination of Napo, who is not only arrogant and disrespectful, but also the minister who introduced LGBT in our schools through the comprehensive sexual education and brought back Dumso. The visionary nation builder shall return. Okay, this one says, no shame, no conscience, only politics can do this. This one says MPP has further reduced its chance of winning this year's elections. Napo and Baumia, such a bad pair for Ghana. His name is Paul from Salaga. Okay, let me go to Facebook. I see all the messages coming. Keep them coming. I will read them in a minute. Let me go to Facebook. Right. Nambi Adamba says the MPP has collapsed completely. I'm watching you live from Paris, France. Hi. Prosper Mensa says, Amma, good evening. There's a saying, a child that will die, when you hide him in the suit of the Pope or the Prophet Muhammad, he will still die. If not, MPP has sunk low. How can Baumia and Napo be the ticket of the MPP? Come on, let's be serious for once. This one says, another question is how many MPP MPs think like Andy Appiah-Kubi? The answer is a lot of them, but they are there, they won't speak their minds. Interesting times ahead. Yalvi Nelson says the future is indeed pregnant. Goy Lolonia says Mahama will prosecute the murderers of John Kuma. Suleimani Abdul Rahim says, what an excellent analysis by your guest. Geshon Havana Saba says Ghana is sick and we are bringing sick people. God's way. Avagona Kofi says, more fire, guys. Keep up the good work. I think we can rest this one for now. You know, this one on Napo, we can rest it for now. We have about a few minutes to go. I'm excited because I can't wait for the campaign to roll. We've seen his acceptance letter. Briefly, what do we make of his acceptance letter in terms of the communication of that letter? Do you think that it's a step? It's his first outing, so to speak. It's the first thing he's done since he's been officially named. What do you think about it? Do you think that it's a good sign of things to come? No, yes.
It's chock-a-block with humility. Lots and lots of humility in the penmanship. Whoever worked with him on it did a very good job. Very little of the God complex showing. He did mention that he thinks this is all part of God's plan. He said, I view this nomination as part of God's plan for my life, and I'm grateful for his guidance in directing my path. So even there, quite a bit of humility there with his comment. He prays for ongoing guidance from God. A lot of uniting commentary. So he talks about how he expresses his gratitude to the council. He's grateful to his colleague ministers, members of parliament. He talks about how the task ahead is going to require collective effort. So he's pleading with every party member to come on board. So very sort of conciliatory language. I think very, very well written acceptance letter, if you will. And not too much theatrics. I think the NDC overdid it a little bit with their telephone call video thing when Professor Nana Jane was selected, the whole thank you sir thing. I don't even remember what the words were, but it was just a little bit too much drama for you, such a serious thing. For you, Kojo. So
some of us think otherwise, but
I mean, it's me. I'm the one talking, so it will obviously be for me. And everyone is free to agree or disagree.
Right.
I think this although maybe I'm speaking too soon, I don't know what they might do tomorrow. But so far, this statement on its own seems well written. It doesn't give any cause for concern as far as I am concerned. But every day now, with bated breath, I'll be switching on my TV to see what Napo is up to.
What's he going to do?
Yeah.
What's he going to do? Kwame, hold on. We have the Deputy National Organizer of the MPP on the line. We have him on the phone. We have a few questions for him. Mr. Nyaneba Kwajaja. I hope I got the name right. Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, and good evening to you.
Hello, good evening,
viewers.
sir. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello? Okay, yeah. So, you know, we will try to get him back on the line. That's the Deputy National Organizer of the MPP. You know, I'm very curious to ask a few questions. Okay, I think we have him back. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. Good evening, sir. Thank you for making time to join us this evening.
Yeah, good evening, and good evening to your service viewers.
Thank you. You have just, when I say you, I mean the MPP, has just announced officially your running mate for 2024 elections. I mean, we have heard things from within the ranks of the party itself. There's been some very problematic comments, you know, about the choice. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear.
Great. So now that the choice has been made, I want to ask you, your person, and then I'll ask generally, how happy are you with your choice?
Yes, good evening once again, and good evening to your service viewers. I think MPP today we have finalized our 2024 election machinery. The presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, settled on Dr. Matthew Koku-Pempe as his running mate. And it's good news to MPP going forward 2024 election. It was approved by the National Council today, and that is what we are going with. Everybody, we are going to choose together and break the eight.
Okay, great. I mean, there's been lots of comments about, you know, his posturing, you know, his answers to questions, you know. I mean, are you preparing him? Because as has been said, well, broadly, you know, by the general public, you know, by specific personalities and all of that, there's a tendency for him to misspeak because he's on record to have misspoken a few times. Are you concerned about that? More to the point, how are you working, you know, on him going forward into this very crucial election?
I think Honorable Dr. Matthew Koku-Pempe is a very fantastic patriot, and he will help us win the 2024 election by running as a mate to the presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. As for the posturing, I don't think he has any posture that is negative to our winning the 2024 election. As the running mate said, the presidential candidate said today, he settled on him based on so many factors. He said so many people are qualified, but he's the one he settled on. And for that matter, as for his posture, I don't think Honorable Napo has any posture that is negative to winning our elections. It's just that he may say something, some people may not be happy with that. As we are human beings, it is not everything that we talk that people will like it, depending on how you put it. So, Honorable Matthew Koku-Pempe is a solid man on the ground, and going towards 2024 elections, I think he's good to go, irrespective of what people are saying about him. And I don't think people say a lot of negative about him. And as a human being, that's why we have our left and we have our right. What the left can do, the right cannot do. And what the right can do, the left cannot do. So you cannot be a human being that is just full with one hand. Definitely you have the left and you have the right, which we all have that in us. So I don't think Honorable Matthew Poku has something negative that people talk about that will affect our winning the December 11, the December 7 election. Maybe unless you have a contrary view.
I appreciate everything you're saying. It's just that, I mean, are you not concerned that politics being a numbers game, you need more of the likes? Because you speak about, you know, people having likes and dislikes, and it's okay and it's human, and I appreciate all of that. I mean, I can have people like me or not like me. I haven't lifted up my hand for people to vote for me. But if you've put somebody up, you know, as running mate, and politics is a numbers game, and you intend to win the upcoming elections, shouldn't you be concerned about the non-likes?
Honorable Matthew Poku Pempe is going to give the message to Ghanaians to listen to what the party can do if Dr. Bawumia is elected as the president of Ghana. Honorable Matthew Poku Pempe will not be insulting anybody, irrespective of the campaign. He will put the issues together for Ghanaians to reason and know that MPP is this. If MPP comes to power, this is what MPP will do. So that is what the running mate will do. He is in and he is fantastic. He will say everything that will bring people on board. He said today that he will make sure that people who in one way or the other are not too happy with the party, they are disgruntled, he will bring everybody on board. And that is the sort of person we are looking for. He's ready to put people together. He's ready to move people forward. These are some of the reasons his name popped up and he finally talked as the person the presidential candidate started on. So I don't think he has something that he will say against the public, because we have a vote to win, elections to win, and he will portray and put the picture of MPP. He put a message to the ground for the to let the grassroots decipher between he being the running mate and becoming the vice president by the grace of God, as compared to the running mate of the NDC. It is the message that they will use. They are not going to measure him as the human being. They are going to measure him as what he tells the people and what he can bring on board. And this is not the first time he's coming on elections. He has been MP in Masiasa for a number of times. This is the first time he's an MP. So at least he has that muscle to be able to put together people. He has the muscle to be able to convince people. He has the muscle to be able to bring everybody online so that we go for the track for the 2024 December elections.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I appreciate your confidence. Wish you all the best, you know, with your running mates this ticket. And, you know, we are excited to see, you know, what happens as, you know,
Napo's stories will come out. It's a success story. And Ghanaians will buy to it, and we'll see that we are good to go. And you will come on board to join us. Then we'll celebrate together December 7th.
Wonderful. Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you. I like his confidence. I love this for him. Yeah, I love it for him.
But what did you expect him to say? That he doesn't support, what's his name, Napo? He will definitely support Napo. But you see, I just wanted to make a quick point before you place the call to him. Kojo was explaining to us, you know, the content of his acceptance speech.
Yes.
Which I also want to comment on. You know, it's quite interesting for me how he, in one of the paragraphs, says he understands that the task ahead requires our collective effort, and he's therefore pleading with every party member to come on board as they seek the mandate of our countrymen and women once again to serve them. So he acknowledges the fact that he's been in a position of service. Am I here with me?
Absolutely.
He's acknowledging the fact that he's been in a position of service. What it means is that he served the Ghanaian people in different or in varied, you know, offices, or different offices, as the Minister for Education and as a Minister for Energy. But what is service? If you say you are serving the people, what does it mean to serve people? Okay? Serving people means that you will listen to them. And at least, even if you can't solve their problems, try to give them hope. And at least attempt to solve their problems for them. That is service. Service means that you wear your heart on your sleeves. You will identify with the plight of the people. You are willing to address their concerns. That is service. But Matthew Opoku Prempeh, doctor, does he have what it takes to serve the people? Is he humble enough? Would he humble himself before the Ghanaian people? Because we've seen him at the Ministry of Education. We've seen him at the Energy Ministry. And we've seen how he's conducted himself in those two offices. He is definitely not a man who is ready to serve. He is a man who wants to be served. Matthew Opoku Prempeh sees the Ghanaian people as helps. So he wants to be served. He wants the Ghanaian people to be serving him tea, morning, afternoon, evening. He wants the Ghanaian people to be feeding him, putting spoon in his mouth every morning. He's the typical definition of people who live in ivory towers. Could you know that political definition of ivory tower? Where for them, they are in ivory towers and they would not descend from their ivory towers to come to the people and appreciate what the people are going through. Matthew Opoku Prempeh would never, because he has generators running in his house 24 hours a day, would never appreciate the teething challenges that the people are facing in respect of our energy sector. He would not. So he is not going to serve anybody. And you see, I find it very troubling when he says our country. Whose countrymen and countrywomen? Did you see Ghanaians as your countrymen and countrywomen? When the Joy FM presenter asked you when you are going to provide us with timetable, did he see us as countrymen and countrywomen? So today, you are the running mate to Baumia. So now you see us as our countrymen and our countrywomen. Is that his definition of service? That today, Matthew Opoku Prempeh in his acceptance speech is saying that he wants to serve, the party should work together so that he will serve his countrymen and countrywomen. Now we are his countrymen and countrywomen because he wants to be the vice president of the Republic of Ghana. Now no, wait. They say that in the middle of the storm, you can mistake a window for a door. This one, there is no storm. There is a clear door. And we are not going to mistake a window for a door. Because we've seen Napo for who he is. This pretense, like what Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo did in the 2016 elections, that is why we are suffering today. Because we believed in his lies. We believed in his lies. And he never presented us with any clear message. He said, try me. It's try me a message. And that's what we did. We didn't see through him. As for Napo, by the grace of God, we have seen through him. We know that he is not here to serve anybody. He is here at best, at the very least. And I'm not saying NPP people are not Ghanaians. But at the very least, his main priority will be to serve the NPP people. Even then, his own leading member, Andy Apiakubi, is saying that he is not somebody that he's going to work with. So what it means is that even in his own party, he is not serving people. He's serving some people. He's not serving other people. And that is why we are experiencing this division in the party. Let's face it. Napo will never be a humble human being. You see, when a lion is hungry, the lion pretends. But go near the lion and attempt to play with the lion and see whether or not the lion will be friendly. And that is clearly who Napo is.
Right.
He wants to be vice president of Ghana.
Yes.
He wants to serve the people of Ghana. But maybe not the people of Keta.
I like that.
Maybe not them. Because, if his own utterances are anything to go by, those people, he doesn't really consider them to be deserving of any kind of service from government. I mean, he was part of this government when Keta was flooding, and they wanted a budget for a sea defense wall. And he said if that ever happens, he will go and demonstrate.
He will demonstrate.
Yes, he will demonstrate in Kumasi against it. So I don't think, when he's thinking of the people of Ghana, I doubt that he includes the people of Keta in that. Will he go there? Will he go and campaign there with the...
Interesting times ahead. I can't wait for those videos.
This is the most
I
important
can't wait for
topic
those
today.
videos. In the voter
Kojo is saying something. It's like you are not diverting
Campaigning.
your mind to it all. Kojo is telling you that possibly, if in the unlikely event that Napo becomes the vice president of the Republic of Ghana, and the people in Keta are confronted with the sea defense whatever issues, he, the vice president, will say that I do not want to extend a shoulder of support. That's what he's saying. That tomorrow, if the people in Oti region are faced with a similar challenge, and in his estimation, that help must go to the Ashanti region, Napo will tell us, as the vice president, God forbid, but as the vice president of the Republic of Ghana, that no, don't extend any shoulder of support to the people in the Oti region. Rather, take it to the Ashanti region. So, my question is very simple, Ama. Is Ghana Ashanti region?
It's a question.
No, it's Ghana Ashanti region.
Absolutely. But you see, it reminds me of something Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo said. And I keep going back to that. In one of my interviews with him, he said that when President Akufo-Addo's name came up, for presidency, those of the friends around him, the people who knew him, were concerned because they knew that we're not looking for the president of a clan. We're looking for the president of a country. And I forget that statement. And for him, if we're looking for a president for a clan, then he was perfect for the role. But if it was about a president for a country, then he was not the man for the job. Yeah. And all of these instances immediately take me back there, where you have, and I don't even want to limit it to the Volta region or the Ashanti region, just anybody, especially a legislator of this country, by any stretch of imagination, to say that these people are in distress, if you help them, I'm going to go here and demonstrate. That for me is very problematic.
If you have noticed this,
it's a very problematic, very divisive, statement to make.
If you have noticed,
and here we are discussing him as a possible vice president of this country.
If you have noticed, at this stage in our political experiment, right, there's a lot of division in terms of religion, in terms of ethnicity, in terms of tribalism, a lot of division. And people are rather actually now campaigning on the lines of such, right? So you need somebody who is a unifier.
Unifier.
Somebody who will bring everybody together, who will bring everybody along, who will not discriminate by reason of where you live or by reason of your natural resources contribution to the development of Ghana. So the signs are clear. This person is clearly telling you that. And you see, Nyaho Tamaklo's statement is still relevant today. The description and the characterization given to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is still relevant today. That you even have a presidential candidate of the MPP who was caught on tape saying that Muslims should vote for him. Then you have a running mate who clearly does not like votarians. And I'll say it without fear. He hates votarians. Because if you don't hate, imagine if the issue that was happening in Keta was happening in Ashanti region. And imagine if another minister had made such a statement, or another member of parliament had made such a statement against the people in the Ashanti region. Imagine what he would have done. So this person is clearly divisive. In fact, the presidential candidate is extremely divisive in terms of religion. Then you have a running mate who is extremely divisive in terms of, tribalism. And that is clearly what it is.
It's problematic.
So
problematic.
So there's a very big issue. And I think that the signs are there. Tomorrow, let no Ghanaian complain if tomorrow he becomes, God forbid, but he becomes the vice president of the Republic of Ghana. And a lot of help I mean, the other regions are deprived of help, and that help is sent to the other Akan-speaking. Nobody should come and complain because then we created it.
Right, and you see, here's my thing. It's one thing to think it. It's a completely different thing to say it.
Yeah, but Amma,
so his ability to say these things
exactly means that's how he thinks.
Not only that, but he doesn't expect anyone to have a problem with it.
Exactly.
He doesn't expect anyone to think
his ability to say it.
He said the wrong thing.
His ability to say
it's either he doesn't expect anyone to have a problem with it, or he doesn't care what anyone thinks. Those are two. Either of those options are terrible traits to have in a leader.
Scary.
In a leader.
Scary.
That you don't care how people perceive you, or you think that everyone should agree with you.
Or you don't care how people feel. People are in distress.
Precisely.
People are in distress.
So I mean, it doesn't bode well. I mean, I hear you describe him as divisive, and I think I agree. For someone to make such a comment, yes. But I also think that there are people watching who might struggle to see the same thing of the vice president. Because he actually, yes, was caught on tape saying that Muslims should vote for him. But he's also been caught on tape saying that Christians should vote for him. That's not divisive. If anything, that's unifying. He says he used to be called Timothy. He's going around preaching in churches. If anything, that is unifying, not divisive. So, I mean, I think there is quite a distinction here.
We can disagree about that.
Well, I mean, of course, but that's my opinion.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion on that.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
But as for, saying that if we help this group of people, I will go and demonstrate in Kumasi. But now you want to be their vice president.
That's scary. Now, to the point also is the fact that somebody listening might think, well, maybe I live in Kumasi, so he's my man, it will favor me. No, national unity affects all of us. If you live in a country that is not united, the effects of that for national development, for democracy, for our... Because whether we like it or not, and here let me borrow a majority leader's words, we are in this together. This ship called Ghana, we are in it together. We are in it together.
I'll be very straightforward and honest with you. The country Ghana was built on some principles, and those principles were outlined by Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The idea was to unify the country. That has always been the idea. Because we have 10 different, or now 16 different regions, different tribes. Even in the northern region, you have different tribes in the northern region. So how do we bring about development if we don't bring about development in unity? So we must be unified in our thinking and in our actions so that can spearhead the journey of development. This particular MPP, and I will say this without recourse to conscience even, that the NPP, and look, I will cite you different examples. You've had ministers, you have had members of parliament saying that some region should not be developed because they do not bring anything to the table. You heard it. So this particular group of NPP people are very dangerous and very injurious to the gains that we have made in respect of our democracy. And look, if we continue to allow these people do these things to us, the country will burn, because it will get to a point where the person living in the Ashanti region will feel superior to the person living in the Volta region. We will get to the point where the person in the Volta region will feel inferior to the person living in the Ashanti region. And when you are in a community where you feel that you are not being treated well, what do? You retaliate or rebel.
You rebel.
And that is very dangerous.
You rebel.
That is why when Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was designing our educational structure, he was very intentional about building boarding schools that will house people from all walks of life, different backgrounds, different ethnic groupings, different people, so that in unity we will build the Ghana that we want. But what do we see now? People live in the Ashanti region, and when you talk about Northerners or in Tafuan, I lived in the Ashanti region. Please, 1 second, I beg you. I know I'm shouting. I don't have to shout, but sometimes I get emotions get a better part of me.
Don't let emotions get a better of you.
Because you see, in this country that we are building, it's a collective effort. And nobody in this country is, the only person who can build this country. All of us, all of us must be involved in that exercise. And that is why the Constitution was designed by everybody, the fisherman, the market woman, because the idea was to create a system where everybody will feel important and will feel a part of the journey to growth and success. But right now, what do we see? The kind of politics we practice, the kind of messaging. You didn't vote
for me, so I would not have come here.
Look at how Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo responded to the chiefs in the Volta region when they raised concerns about an abandoned school which was built with the taxpayers' money. And because the school was in the Volta region or is in the Volta region, look at how the chief was responded to. You have a president who cares very little, in fact less, about how people feel. Look at the price of tomato, look at the price of onion, look at the price of everything has skyrocketed, and yet somehow we are very comfortable. So the point I'm trying to make is that, look, we should not make a mistake of voting for this group. I like the MPP. For crying out loud, I voted for Kufuor. We have all voted at some point in our lives for the MPP before, because the MPP that we experienced in Kufuor is definitely not the MPP we are experiencing under Akufo-Addo. Definitely not. And that is why you have people who reason, people who believe in Ghana, depart from the MPP. Alan Kojo Chamantin, together with all the other Pierre Dankwa Sole and all the other people, because they feel that the bond that holds the party together, that bond has been taken away by this individualistic, and very selfish leader in Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And Ghanaians should be very watchful. And I'm saying this, that Ghanaians should be very watchful. Because how come that because of all of these things that are happening, Kojo, you see, and Frederick Bastiat says something very critical. Do you know what he said?
No,
he said, where plunder becomes the way of life of a particular group of people, they create a legal system that legalizes it and the moral code that authorizes it. What do we see now? Look at your EC. Look at your EC.
I wish you would have looked at SNIT, because that's the issue that I wanted us to look at before we leave. We spent the whole time, on Napo. We didn't go to SNIT. I would have loved for you to look at SNIT, because that's a huge moral issue for us as a people. That's a big one.
Yeah, but
we sit down and we watch all of our state assets literally evaporated right before our eyes.
You see, the conversation in relation to SNIT must not even be limited to SNIT alone. I'm telling you that today, the prison service where they live is being sold to a private developer.
Oh my God.
Today, go to the northern region. All the prime government lands have been taken over by private individuals. And look, somebody is sending me documents. I don't want to mention it because the person has sent me the voice note, and I'm waiting for the documents to be able to pick that issue up. That you have people who get into politics 2, 3, 4, 5 years, amass so much wealth, and they think that they can steal from the state. So Brian Champo couldn't have bought the SNIT hotel when they were in opposition. He couldn't have done that. Are you saying that in 2015 or 16 or even 14, Brian Champo did not have the amount of money to buy SNIT?
He can have the amount of money.
No, but what I'm saying, wait.
I'm very happy for him to go and build his own hotel.
You're not getting the drift. What I'm saying is that
state once alone.
So what I'm saying is that, look, it comes to state capture, and I think I will rehash this until that point makes a lot of sense. Right. It's state capturing, and I'm telling you that, look, this is just a smoke screen. For somebody, there's always somebody behind some of these things.
Our time is
there's
up.
always
Kwame.
an architect behind this.
Our time is up. Our time is up. Let me read a few of them, and then Kujuri can come in. Our time is up. Kwame is just spot on. The game gets easier for the NDC than expected. Ghana youth arise. His name is Dennis Kingla from Mepe. This one says, Kwame, instinctively, it seems you believe Baumia and Napope can win the 2024 election. So, good evening, Amma. This one says, this is from Edem Kwashi in Lekwe in the Guan district, Uti region. He says the shadow government's backing of Baumia was a strategic move to preclude an Ashanti candidate from assuming leadership, thereby mitigating the perception of Ashanti dominance within the party. To obfuscate their true intentions, they are, thank you, Kwabe, they are utilizing Napo to appease the Ashanti stronghold, thereby maintaining a facade of inclusivity. The ultimate goal is to perpetuate the ideology of Japadeism under Baumia's leadership. Notably, Alan Tremantin's resignation from the MPP was precipitated by his awareness of this political machination, suggesting a deep-seated understanding of the party's internal dynamics. Thank you so much for that very, wordy one. Kojo, do you entirely agree with Kwame that Napo underperformed as education minister? His name is Kakra. This one says, seriously, we need God's intervention in Ghana. Right now we have NPP police service before Ghana police service. God should have mercy on us. His name is James Saba. This one says, why should Ghanaians vote for the MPP who have lied to Ghanaians and even God? They promise God Cathedral. We are happy that promise has not been fulfilled. Godfred Ba from Kumasi. This one says, if a jungle is hit by famine, the king of the jungle pretends to be dead to lure its prey. But the smartest prey seeks an autopsy of the lion before it rejoices. Okay, tonight we've entered into the animal kingdom. I'm loving it.
With autopsies.
Exactly. This one says, this is the only opportunity for NDC to win the 2024 election. Ruben Ahoga from Akache in the Volta region. The election 2024 is not about convincing. It's about whom we believe in as a good leader. I kind of agree with you. You just didn't add your name. This one says, my name is, oh, okay. Wait, okay. My name is Yao Osei Mensa from Dakuman. Ama, what has just happened seems to suggest to me that all the men are waiting for MPP to self-destruct. Where is Kunedo Aperku? Where is Richard Anane? Where is Mr. Hackman? Where is Ambassador Osei? And all the big boys. Oh, Mother Ghana. Nana is taking the NPP to the grave. Ima from Ashtown says, this man insulted trained teachers and Ghanaians at large. So all Ghanaians should be circumspect in how they are going to choose their leaders this year. Please, we beg that problematic and enemy region, to Ghana's development, to refrain from their usual actions. His name is Ima from Ashtown. This one says, hi, good evening. I'm Eric from Community 19. I feel ashamed and disrespected by the choice of MPP with Napo as its running mate. The man who insulted us by saying we should go prepare our own timetable for the power outages and that Ghanaians are evil people. These people will not make it to heaven, I swear. Right? Oh, wow, you just made me curse on national TV. Don't do that to me next time, please, I beg you. This one says, good evening, Pan-African TV. In an association where the chairman is a liar and secretary arrogant, it is the members that would suffer. Be watchful, Ghanaians. His name is Yao from Sunyani. Right. This one says, I'm waiting for Napo and Baumia December 7 showdown. His name is Razak Rufai, I think. This one says, Napo wasn't Baumia's choice, but because of what happened in the election, okay, Shamrock Woolens, maybe you want to send that again. Good evening, I'm enjoying your program. The MPP, Old Barrier to Kaswa. Okay, you have to send that in again. I cannot, Amma, I left MPP immediately Napo was chosen as running mate. God save us. I mean, you left the MPP today. Good evening, Amma. The ticket is an insult to our intelligence. Where did we go wrong? His name is Michael from Achimota. Stanley says, 2 incredible people. All their hope now is in the EC. This one says, my name is Alaji Baba. All politicians are the same, but MPP is worse. They just came to enrich themselves and their family. This one is from Brickhome. He says, please tell the MPP that we are not fools and animals. We will teach the MPP a lesson come this election. This one, he says, my name is Richard. Napo is an arrogant person. Okay, this one says, Napo, change or you are going to opposition. Okay, right. Okay, life is short. Oh wow, this is a long one. I'm sorry. It's too late in the day for this long one. Good evening, Amma. In fact, your panel are factual and nationalistic in their presentations. If we were to be discussing issues this way, I don't think we would have been where we are today. His name is Ibn in Tamale. I think my battery is, lost that one. Papayao, on Facebook says, I'm watching from Italy. Hasib Rain says, isn't it the same Napo I know, full of arrogance, disrespectful, always throwing jabs at Ghanaians whenever he's asked the question? Okay, probably from the submissions of your guests, I'm clearing my mind. Right, I think you sent this one again. Okay, this one says the Ashanti region must separate from Ghana. Okay, right. Amma, it's time all Ghanaians came together to vote and kick out this corrupt government. Napo's comments on diploma teachers was completely out of place. It goes on and on and on and on. Thank you so much, Kojo. Final words.
All right.
Final words.
If I agree with Kwame that
Right.
Napo was not an effective education minister. Yes, I do. I think I even said so.
Right.
That you would have to be decidedly ineffective to have not seen double track coming, to have not been able to just calculate. But it's not just that. Do you know that in spite of changing the curriculum for junior high schools, we still don't have their textbooks?
Yeah.
I mean, that's failure. We still have schools under trees. That's failure. We still have people sitting on the floor to learn. That's failure. And these are problems that could have been solved. These are problems that if he was as good as people keep insisting and keep trying to tell us that he is, in spite of the evidence, he should have been able to deal with these things, or at least make a dent in them. But he didn't. He didn't. The things he was more interested in was the vote buying. Oh, we will pay these allowances. We will do this, we will do that. That's vote buying, not actually solving problems. Even the free SHS was turned into a vote buying mechanism. Because the idea is that, oh, let's, rush these people through so that by the time it's time for elections, they'll be of voting age, and then they'll be grateful to us and they'll vote for us. So that was the kind of thinking behind every rushed decision. That's why double track even seemed like a good idea to them. It was like, yeah, push them through so they'll come and vote for us in 2020. So I'm afraid his track record as a minister speaks for itself. And anybody who argues that he's been an effective minister is blowing smoke up his own backside, because the evidence is quite clear. And so it shouldn't even be a debate. If we respect each other, let's not debate it. He was not a good minister in either portfolio. Let's not debate it. It's not like we haven't seen good ministers before. We don't know what a good minister looks like.
Right. Interesting times ahead. Interesting times ahead. Interesting times. Kwame, our time is up.
No, final comments. Just
2 seconds.
All right.
2 words.
So this one, respectfully, this one goes to the NDC, that, and I'll just advise that they should minimize the kind of insulting communication that I'm beginning to see on social media. Because look, somebody may like you, they may want to vote for you, but if you go insulting people, the person might lose interest in you.
Let's stay on
My
the
advice
issues.
is that, and then also, NAPO should not be the central focus of their communication, to be honest with you, because they have their own running mate that they need to promote, and they have their presidential candidate that they must promote. So in as much as they may want to discuss NAPO, I think that they should not be swayed by this so that they will forget to promote their running mate and their presidential candidate. They must have laser, they must be laser focused. Yeah, and so that
everybody has work to do with
Eyes
their
on the
running mate.
prize.
exactly. So don't waste your. It is said that, and my father told me. They said when you set out to fight with an elephant, you don't waste your time fighting ants on the way. You focus on the elephant. These are ants. You know. So
elephants.
focus on the elephant. Yeah.
Thank you, Kwame. Thank you, Kojo. Thank you, Kwame. Always a pleasure. I love it when we have these conversations. I love, this season, and I really do love, how forthright you guys are with the conversation. It's okay, Kwame. Well, thank you for watching this show. We appreciate that you appreciate our frankness. We appreciate that you understand that where we are in Ghana today, this is not a time for tootsie-footsing around the issues. This is not a time for playing sweet and, not speaking truth to power. We need to rescue our country. This is all we have. This is all we have. And if we've got it wrong in the past, we have an opportunity to get it right. We will question all sides. Make sure that the people we choose eventually are up to the task. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Truly African.